here's the equation that gets you to $100,000 a month with your agency. It is very simple. You just need to follow these 4 things, get these things done, then do these 3 things as well. I'll show you all of that in this video. And basically, what if I told you that all you need to do to get to $100,000 a month is just match these things in this equation and get there? In this video, I'm just going to show you what are the specific things, how to mathematically, objectively get to your goal, and basically just give you a lot of clarity so that you know exactly what you need to do, what you need to work on, what you don't need to work on, and a lot of just like small things that are going to help you get there a lot quicker. So let's get into this. Now, obviously, $100,000 a month is just a number, and this number can be accomplished by having this broken down into more smaller numbers. And yeah, and here I'm going to give you a small example. So we see here below, we are assuming that the agency that this example is made for is making $4,000 per month per client. And no worries if you don't make that certain amount. This is still going to help you. This is just an example, and I can only make one example and not 2,000. And yeah, basically we assume that they are making $4,000 per month. Their average retention is 5 months, which leads us to a lifetime value of $20,000 per month, and that they obviously, in order to get to $100,000 a month, when your lifetime value is 20K, you want to have 5 of these, because 5 times 20 is 100, obviously. And yeah, for that, we have certain close rates and show up rates and bookings. And this is just one example. Basically, if you get 25 bookings a month, which is like 6 per week, you get 60% of them to show up. So actually just 15 of these calls happen, which is like 4 per week or something like that. Then 1 in 3 you close. So out of 15 calls, you close 5. You get 5 new clients with an LTV of $20,000. In the long term, that's going to play out to $100,000 a month to get there. It is very simple. Now, you don't necessarily have the same numbers for yourself, but the thing is, no matter what like your LTV is, you need to increase. If you're not at $100,000 a month right now, you need to either increase your bookings, your show up rate, your close rate, or your LTV, or a combination of these. And by the way, this equation also works if you want to get to 500K a month. You just need to make sure that in sum, they sort of like get you like 5 times the amount. Like you could 5x the bookings, but you could also like 2x the bookings here and 2.5x the close rate, or whatever other combination you can think of right now. But this is the equation, and the things that you need to do to get there are either or a certain combination. Get more bookings, increase your show rate, increase your close rate, increase your lifetime value, get more predictability, get a higher client capacity, because if you have like 20 clients but you can't fulfill for 20 clients but only for 5, then you're obviously in deep trouble. And also lean operations to make sure that you can actually do this and you're not busy all of the time working on whatever other part of your business, like basically not having enough like time to get the bookings or something. Like you need to make sure that you are not doing everything, and that this stuff can run without you ideally, but at least in a way where you can work on the business and you're not just basically a slave to yourself because you're working in a full-time job that you created for yourself 12 hours a day, you know? So let's get into this to make it a bit more simple. Now, first thing is obviously bookings. You do not need just bookings, you also need predictable bookings with matches with 5, meaning you can get bookings from inbound or from referrals, but they won't be predictable, because you can't tell your clients, hey, come refer me X many people this month, and you also can't tell an algorithm, yo, give me X many people this month. You can't tell your ad system, however, or your outreach system, hey, give me X calls, and then it's going to, like, if you've tested, it's going to tell you, okay, spend this much on ads, or send this much emails, or whatever, like outreach, and you're going to get that, because predictability, which is a point for later, is basically going to assure you do X amount of input and you will get X amount of output. Why? Because you've tested it and it already worked at a high volume in the past. Super important. So you can only do outbound or ads in this context. Inbound is also going to get you more appointments, and also quite good appointments, but you need to have something that you can rely on, which is either ads or outbound. Now, I personally have never run ads, so I can't tell you anything about ads. Look for other people in that scenario. For outbound, there are obviously multiple platforms, like depending on what niche you're in, like each of them are going to work like better or worse, and in a different niche it could be completely different. So you could have things such as cold calling, cold email, cold DM on Instagram, LinkedIn, X, School, whatever other platforms you can think of. And that's basically the way that you do this, and you just need to have like a good offer basically showing like like finding the right people in the first place and saying like, hey, we help people like you solve the biggest problem you have right now, and then just like get the messaging, get some like stuff going there for you, create the ad creatives or whatever, depending on what method you use, and then you get the bookings, very roughly. Next point, now that you have the bookings, let's say 25 bookings as an example, is you want to make sure that they actually show up, because it can also happen that you get 25 bookings but only 5 of them show up, which is like very bad, obviously. And 60% show rate is quite conservative, generally speaking. But when you think about things such as ads or cold calling, where the show up rate could be a bit lower, 60% is at least good to work with. And that just means, okay, you're going to get 15 calls where you actually speak to the people. The way that you increase your show rate, 2 things you can do there is get a shorter schedule in advance. Basically make sure people don't schedule like an average 4 days in advance, but rather like for the same day or like next day, so that they don't forget that they scheduled the call. And also just remind them, make them confirm the call, make them get that in their calendar. Multiple ways of doing that, such as like just confirming the email where they scheduled the call, just making a video after they scheduled the call to remind them that they should do that, so that they have it in their calendar and don't forget the call. Things like that, very simple, not a very complicated thing. Then the next thing is close rate. Basically, there's like a whole like sphere on YouTube just about sales, and there's a lot that you can do there. I want to make this really simple right now, because like other people obviously make their entire channels just about sales. Sales is just, you speak to the person on the Zoom meeting or whatever meeting you have, and you ask them stuff about their situation, specifically according to them. What problems do they have? What's holding them back from getting to their goal? What have they tried? Why did these things not work? Why didn't they work with someone else yet? Why, like, what are their options? Obviously the options, there are always 2 options, like try by themselves or work with you, but they might have other options. And then just figure out what the best option is objectively, not like, are they afraid of buying something because they got burnt in the past by like one person and now they believe that it's not going to work, but for some reason they still scheduled the call. Then obviously the best option would not be to try by themselves, because they don't know a lot more context. Anyway, most of the time the best option is objectively going to be to buy from you. If objectively the best option is not to work with you, it's perfectly fine, because you don't need to close everyone. You just need to close like this many people, and for like 90% of the people the best thing is actually to work with you, because they scheduled the call in the first place, right? And then if you have these things, you know that they're problems, you just need to show how your service is going to solve all of the problems. Like at the end, you're just going to tell them, hey, these are your problems. Problem 1, we're going to solve this by doing X part of your service. Problem 2, we're going to solve this by doing X part of your service. And with that, it's just super simple to go over everything and then obviously close them. Lifetime value, basically just have a better product, like get more results for people, because that justifies a higher price, which is obviously lifetime value, but also how long people stay with you, because when you deliver better, you're going to get more results. So very simple, lifetime value, just deliver better or quicker, or whatever better is for you. Just make sure that the people get better results. Then predictability. It's cool if you can do this in 1 month, but not if you like do this 1 month, second month it's just like 20k a month, next month is 30k a month, next month is 120k per month. Like it needs to be on a consistent basis if you really want to scale something there. So predictability, the way that you do this is just systemize every part of your business. Like as much as possible should be systemized, basically. The way that you systemize something, or the way that you know you have systemized something, is when you know there's a combination of inputs that predictably lead to the output that you want. And the way that you do this is by just testing different combinations over a large data set, and then just like seeing the outcome of that. So if you've tested on like 20,000 cold emails and you got a certain booking rate, then you can be quite sure that the booking rate is also going to apply for all of the cold emails that you send afterwards, if you don't change any of the variables. So if you reach out with the same text to the same type of people, then you're going to get the same result with that. And you should be doing this with everything, and really not only just with like bookings or things like that, but also with things such as your sleep. Like your sleep can also be systemized. Maybe you have unpredictable results with your sleep. Sometimes the nights are like shit and you don't have much energy, and the next day is going to be super unproductive. You close way less of the calls because you're not like really prepared. You have like headaches all the time, like all that stuff. You can systemize really anything, but obviously in this for the purpose of this video, it's just about these things right now, and not like secondary things such as like sleep or like a lot more things. And the next thing is client capacity, which is something like you need to be able to fulfill for like a lot more people than like 5 or something, and you just need to be able to make sure that they actually like get the result on that scale as well. And the last thing is just lean operations, which is just the people like in your business, everything is done either by someone else or by an automation or by you, but as much as possible should be done by other people, and everything should be as simple as possible, because when you don't have this, then you might sign a client, but then you're like busy working with the other people for the service delivery and you never get time to improve any of the other systems. But you need this if you want to improve something. You need to have the extra time to work on other things, and you basically need to make sure, if I like stop working for a few days a week or something, like in some, then I'm going to still get like my agency is not stopping to work. Like basically this is not being in like a day-to-day job where you're basically just working 12 hours a day or whatever amount and not actually like progressing in any way. Like you need to be sure that you have this. The way that you do this is by looking at all the processes in your business and saying, can I eliminate this? Yes or no? If yes, eliminate it. Can I automate this? Yes or no? If yes, automate it. Can I delegate this? Yes or no? Delegate it. And basically you can delegate everything besides working on the business, which is something that yourself or your business partner or whatever are doing. And yeah, it's very simple. So that's the things that you need to do. To quickly summarize everything, you need more bookings, more people on the calendar. You make sure that the people on the calendar are real people that show up to your calls. You need to make sure that the people on your calls have the money, and obviously all of that, which is again lead quality, which is part of bookings, but you need to make sure that they buy. Then you need to make sure that you get a lot of money from them, which is basically just by having a better product that justifies a higher price and make sure that people stay with you. Then all of this needs to be systemized, basically making sure like long term, if I do like this volume and this input, I'm going to get this result. And yeah, that's also going to make sure that like nothing is like breaking down. And all of these, by the way, they also tie into each other. Like if you have a lot of systems, it's going to be a lot easier to hire more people for your agency, obviously, because when you can just tell them, okay, like here's what you need to do, this, do it, and it's systemized, then there's going to be a lot less that you need to extra like teach them or micromanage, because it's already predictable and all of that. And same thing as well for client capacity, that you can handle that many people, and that also that you're basically not working in like a job that you created for yourself, which is probably the reason why you made an agency in the first place, because you didn't want to have that. But yeah, that's just like that you're not working all of the time just for the sake of working and like keeping, but that you're actually working to make the boat go faster, so to say. Really important. Now, if your problem or the main bottleneck is either bookings, show rate, predictability, or a combination of these 3 things, then shameless plug for myself, feel free to check out the link in the description, because we help agencies above 10k a month scale to 100k a month and beyond that by getting them predictable bookings in their calendar without them doing these things by themselves, and obviously also making sure that the people show up, that the people are high quality, which is important for close rate, basically everything of these. And yeah, so if that's something that you might be interested in, then feel free to check out the link in the description. Other than that, looking forward to see you in the next video. If you have any questions, obviously feel free to drop them in the comments, and yeah, see you next time.